Today I'm going to paint this watercolour in Corel Painter Essentials 6. Hi everyone, Steve Elliott here again. Today I'm going to be working in Corel Painter Essentials 6. This is another tryout. It's not a review. If you've been following my channel, you will know I've already done a tryout using the oil brushes and I really like those. At the time I had a play around with the watercolour brushes and I wasn't very impressed, and I thought I'm not going to be able to do much with these. And one or two people that follow me on Twitter have suggested that I give it a go and just see what I could come up with. So I thought about it and I thought, you know what, let's try it, because I'm not being fair to the software if I don't even try it. So let's see how I get on. First thing I want to say is the default setting is you have a canvas to work on, and I use the pencil tool to sketch out my rough image on the canvas, and then I discovered that you can't adjust the opacity of the canvas, you can't seem to move it around or do anything with it. So I don't know what the deal is with the canvas. You can do all of that if you create a layer. So I was then left with a drawing that I wasn't overly fond of the pencil tool, by the way, and it was sort of too dark and I couldn't line it up, and later on I ended up using the eraser to remove most of the drawing. So that's the first thing. I then created a layer and started painting, and there were quite a few brushes in a category called Digital Watercolour, and I used 5 brushes, and that was the diffuse water, the dry brush, the soft round blender, the water brush, and the new simple water. The first two that I used to get on the big washes was the wash brush and the new simple water brush. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I haven't used this software for watercolour before. I hadn't tried the brushes. I was trying them out as I was going. I sort of, as you'll see, I sort of put colour down and then use the undo button to remove it and then try another brush. But I discovered that the wash brush and the new simple water brush were the best for laying on nice big washes, and they did blend together really well. And at this point I'm thinking I'm getting quite a nice wet in wet thing going off here. And then at this point I sort of messing around with different brushes and different colours, and it all starts to look a little bit muddy. And you can see there's like putting circles, great big circles on the canvas. So some brushes work better than others. So I just changed the brush, and I think it's the wash brush is the one that I really like, because you can kind of put a colour on and then go back over it and blend it. And I have to say, I was using the brushes, I was almost just letting the stylus touch the surface of the Intuos Pro. I wasn't even putting any pressure on, and you get these really soft colours. And I really like that. I thought that was really cool. And it wasn't until you put any pressure on you start to get much stronger, vibrant colour. But I like the fact that I could just sort of touch it and put these very delicate colours on. So what I've got going off here, I've got these sort of cool blues and very pale yellows in the background, and then I've got this vibrant yellow and green in the foreground just to push that forward. And this is definitely an experiment. I'm just feeling my way with the brushes. I think if I was to do this painting again, I would get a much better result. Because I was sort of trying things out, thinking, yeah, that worked, that didn't work, and then rub them out. I wasn't sure which brushes to use for the trees and which to use for the reeds in the foreground. And I came up with that the best brush for doing the reeds and the trees was the dry brush. And then I also used a soft round blender, and I used that just to, you could put a colour on, then use the blending brush just to soften off the edge of the colour. So if you look in the foreground where I've got that sort of dark purple and it fades away at the bottom, I used a blending brush to smooth that away. That's the soft round blender. And then a diffuse water brush. I think that was quite a nice brush, that it sort of almost ran slightly. What I mean by that is sort of flowed out. You put it on and it sort of just flowed out very quickly, but not very far. But that gave a nice subtle effect. So I'm just sort of painting in different things. Most of what I'm doing now, I erase later on. I've got lots of layers going on, because with watercolour you do sort of build up lots of light layers and then add darker layers as you go in. So I was happy to create lots of layers, and this is where I'm using the blending brush on those branches to keep softening them off and just blending those edges away. And then I decide I need some darker, stronger tones, really stronger tones in the foreground. You can see I'm messing a lot. What I'm doing now, I'm searching on the layers to find out what I've got on each layer, because I didn't label anything, did I? I just sort of crazily went on and didn't write what anything was on any of the labels, which was probably a bit of a mistake. Now at this point I'm thinking I'm quite happy with most of the painting except for the gate. The gate looks really laboured, and I go looking for the layer that's on in a minute or two. And I'm still working over it now, and it looks as though I've really struggled with getting the effect I want, because everything else looks so loose and wet. I wanted that effect over the whole of the painting. So here we go. I just search through all the layers to find where that gate is, and then erase them, and then I use that dry brush to put in absolutely one stroke for each plank of the gate, just to get a much more spontaneous effect, I guess. And I think that's made a huge difference to the painting. Now at this point I'm messing around with a layer that I've set the blend mode to overlay, I think, and I was struggling with, I don't know if there's a bug in the program, but I couldn't seem to erase anything on the layer if it was set to overlay. It just wouldn't erase, and I had to cut it out using the marquee tool. Opinion of this is, I was really impressed with the actual watercolour brushes. They perform much better than I thought they was going to do when I was messing around with them last time, and I'm really happy with the result. So much better result than I thought, and I am really tempted to save up hard and buy the full version of Corel Painter, because this is the tools are really nice. So that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, a big thumbs up as always is much appreciated. Thanks for staying with me till the end, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have lots of videos all about digital painting, and I would love to be sharing those with you. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.